tomorrow. Today we're doing fractions and mixed numbers on a number line. Now, both of those you should be a little familiar with. Fractions and mixed numbers, again, should sound familiar. We're just going to be adding on a number line. Now, with the number line, it's just a representation of how those fractions and mixed numbers will work together. Because I'm dealing with number lines, I'm not going to put lines actually on the screen today because then I'll have a little more flexibility. But first of all, we need to look at is a number line. So let's go ahead and draw one number line. If I were to ask you why are there arrows on both ends, I hope you would be able to answer me because it continues on. Let's do 1, 0. 1, 2. All right, now a straight out number line, just as a quick review. If I were to ask you, what is the value of this dot right here? I hope with no hesitation at all you would say 1, because it is located on this 1 slash. Now, if we were to draw in smaller lines here, here's where we're going to be getting into our mixed numbers, which remember is a whole number and a fraction, or just a fraction. Okay, to identify a fraction on a number line, you need to take a look at two things. One is the spaces that you have between whole numbers. So there's my whole number, and I've got 2 spaces. So the 2 will be my denominator. Here again, here's a whole number to a whole number, and I have 1, 2 spaces. So my 2 would be my denominator. Now, to find the denominator, you are counting the spaces. To find the numerator, you will count the tick marks or the lines. So, for example, if we are right here, we are the first tick mark out of the 2 spaces. So we are 1 over 2, so actually our fraction would be 1/2. Now, that should be easy if you remember. Your denominator is coming from spaces. Your numerator is coming from lines. Let me make that red so it sticks out a little bit. So denominator is spaces, numerator is lines. So let's look at it with a couple more than just 1/2 because it'll make it a little bit more understandable, I think. All right, let's draw another number line. Again, arrows on the end because it continues. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, let's draw in 2 lines in between each. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And let's locate what the value is of this spot right there. Okay, well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to identify my whole number that I am going past. Well, I go 1, 0, 1. Well, I'm just past the 1, but I'm not to the 2 yet. So my whole number will be 1. Now I need to figure out what my denominator is. Well, I'm counting spaces. 1, 2, 3 spaces. So go ahead and write what your denominator would be. You should have written 3 because I have 3 spaces. Then count your numerator, which is counting your lines. So you would have 1, 2. I'm on the second line, so go ahead and write your numerator. And you should have written 2. So right there is 1, because we've passed the 1, and 2 out of the 3, or 2/3. So let's do one more. Tell me what the fraction would be, or the mixed number would be, for that one right there. If you need to push pause, go ahead and pause it to figure out your whole number and then your fraction, so together it's going to make a mixed number. Well, if you start with your denominator, you know you've got 1, 2, 3 spaces. I am on the first dot. My whole number is the 3. I'm not quite to the 4, so it would be 3 1/3. And how about one more? Let's do one on this end. You tell me what is the fraction represented by that line right there. Again, pause it if you need a minute. But we can't start with a whole number because we have 0. We haven't even made it to a whole number yet, so I'm still going to count my spaces for my denominator. 1, 2, 3. And then my line, I am on the first one after the 0, so it would be 1/3. So I hope you're seeing how you find your whole number, you count your spaces, and that becomes your denominator, and then you count what line you're on, and that becomes your numerator. So hopefully that makes a lot of sense because it is just very much following a pattern. All right, let's give you the chance to do a couple